I like to see you reverse with a camera while you're not watching it.
It's a new episode, and hopefully in this episode we might break ground in the front garden. I mean, you could say this is the front garden, because this is as far as we've got, but I'm classing this as sort of a no man's land, really, in between back and front. Not quite sure what to really name it, but we are almost crossing the border. So you might have seen a few clips of us putting these posts in, but we have done a little bit since, on and off, mainly when it's been windy and things, because you can hide down in here and escape it, because we are just in the aftermath of Storm Lillian. So if it's a bit breezy, I do apologise. But you'll see posts are in, and we've got these rails running down the side. And the idea here is you put your rails on the side, and you basically set the level with those. So the post top isn't the level, it's almost there, but you'll see other places it's a little bit further down. And so basically you can move these up and down, get your gradient that you need all the way down, and they're your adjustment point. What we're then going to do is take a load of these battens, put them across the top, and then once you've got a few of these, you can then put your track on top of that. A common system that's used on a lot of railways and things, so I'm sure you've all seen it before. But that's what we're doing down this section and probably around the front. We're not obviously expecting this to last anywhere near as long as the back, so this will probably have to be redone in a number of years' time, but for now this gets us an extra loop around here. So I'm just working at that end, currently getting the ones across, but as I work this way you will see we're splitting. We've got this side and we've got this very interesting one through the buddleia bush, which could be interesting for running through, but if we can keep it trimmed we should be right. But this is basically, so we've got two tracks down there, we're splitting here, and then we're going to go in a big balloon loop behind the camera, which I'll show you in a second. The trickier bit with going through this here is that I can't use my two rails method. So normally that would be attached to here, by the way, I'm just using the fence posts because of that. Because I just can't get the width, because the buddy is sort of splaying out in a V round where the track's going. So I've actually put a thicker fence post in and hopefully got it level. So this might be a little bit then, when I come to put these on, I'm obviously very reliant on these being straight and them sitting nice on here, so there might have to be some packings and things in here just to get it right, or a bit of sanding and what have you. But we can hopefully just sneak one through there. And then it will come and split and go around the loop, which we'll have a look at over here. So this is our 4 foot-ish, it's going to be probably slightly bigger, loop. And what this is going to allow us to do is run round the back, and if your loco can do, can only do 4 foot, not much less, you can come around this loop and head back down. So that's probably a little bit of a change from the original plan. There is still the idea of going up and going on the old SLR V1 loop, but because of the smaller radius on that one, we thought actually putting the big one in here means that you've got a much bigger run from the back if you're that size of rolling stock and loco. So it's a little bit hard to see here. So if I grab my trusty stick, you see there's a stone placed down here, which is our sort of centre point for the radius, although what will actually happen is there's probably going to end up being 2, because where this lump of wood is here will be a point, which is what's going to send us off down that way. So that will obviously then be not quite on the same radius, and that means it's slightly wider in the middle. But over here we have our stick that we put in, and this actually has a mark on for the level, so that's the level we're at this point. And we're basically if I can manage to do this. Might have to make me stick a little bit longer. Running round from that point and picking up these stones. Get around here. So I do apologise, it's a bit hard to see. There's quite a lot of stuff in the way at the front here. All the way around, and then we've got another point at the back here. And this one's your one for coming down, because this will be sprung. So this will be the down direction from that way, and the one over there will be your up if you want to go up to the station up the top there. Because you can get to reach to the point this one's sprung, so you just head down. So then that track will go straight down the back, and the rear rail down this section will be downwards, and this one coming through the buddleia will be uphill.
That's right.
Yeah.
The one we were just talking about.
Yes, off there. So you'll see we've got to get from there basically straight to here, and this is probably just going to be some posts and rails to start with across this section, because yeah, that's sort of what we're going to do to start with. Over time I'll probably put some fancy bridge in here or round here or whatever. We've got a number of options, but what we're actually going to do, because this is our entrance in currently to this area of the garden.
Yeah, if I come back, we can
We
see
have an
that.
opening here for this area, and there is actually one right up in the top corner which is going to stay as well. But we're going to shift it. So we're going to bring the garden down into this area, so a lot of the slate's going to disappear, or move up anyway.
Yeah, probably move
This is going to become a lot greener, and that will mean then that when you're up here, you're probably going to come in somewhere here off the drive instead, but the truck's going that way, and that will mean you don't have to step over it basically to get in. You can come into here, you can miss that loop, so again you can walk past that loop, but we'll come on to that when we come to build it.
Because eventually there will be a plan to have the wooden bench that probably way back in
Yes.
one of the early episodes was actually across that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd go back over there.
The sort of outline plan is to have something across a corner like that with bench in the corner. But all this might, well, probably will change by the time we get to it.
We're
'Cause
already on probably
all-
plan 5 or 6 at least.
Yeah,
so.
that's all in the future. So all we're interested in at the minute is getting this round here, making sure. And she tipped the barrow over.
We'll sort that in a minute.
This point in here, because that's sending you off there. So as long as we can get that one in, we can do this bit up here however we want to do it.
I like to see you reverse with the camera while you're not watching it.
Looks like I'm fitting all that wood now.
Yeah. I should. This went
Yeah.
slightly badly.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Never mind. That's today's job now. But anyway, this bit will be greener. This bit will stay as slate so you can walk in. And there we go. That's basically the plan for this
The
section.
plan so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
These long bits of wood are for the fence
Yes.
out the back.
These fence which are hopefully going to go on very soon, because now we've basically got down the back here. It was easier with these nodding to jump over the station area that we've built to get down the back. I can sneak around, but it's just easier to jump over. So these will be going on anytime really. Once I'll put my
Potentially today.
lats down. Yeah, could be today. Well, we're set up for doing wood cutting and things out here. So, but I maybe spend the rest of the day picking up bits out of the wheelbarrow now. So
I'll help you put that back together
We'll-
before.
we shall see how much we get done. Anyway, now you know what's happening. We'll do it, and then you can comment of how we didn't do it, anything like the plan we said we were going to do because we changed it part way through. That's the fun of it, isn't it?
Well, that took so long that the camera battery died. But we have now got all the bits of wood sorted into sizes, which is going to make Rob's life a lot easier. And it means I can't tip a wheelbarrow full of bits of wood over anymore. And here is a wild Rob
Hiding.
screwing down bits of wood in the bushes. Can kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like now, actually.
Yeah.
I think they call it a ladder system.
That could well be. I mean, it makes sense. I was going to say it's like some sort of ladder,
Yeah.
like you'd find in a zoo for the monkeys. That is very much the theme.
So you just have an awful lot more of those to put on now,
Yeah.
and hope we don't run out.
Yeah. Well, you soon go through them. Oh. Oh. Right in the middle.
Ah. Put a screw in it first. I'm sure it'll work. But yeah. It's going to take a while. Although it's quicker than building brick walls.
Yes, there is definitely that.
So we'll leave you to it and see how far you get.
Easy if they want a load of bushes here.
Yeah.
Might not look as pretty though.
No.
Well, I've aged a few weeks, but I have made progress in that time, because it has actually been a few weeks. But sort of the other side of the railway is the business that we run, and so we've been at shows, mainly down Lambert in Wales, which means all the prep and everything for it, which means I can't really escape to do the railway very often. But I'd managed to do a little bit before that show, and I've done a little bit in the last few days after it. So you'll see an update as we head this way on where I've got to. Starting in this corner, I've got the track on. I did have a piece of track on here, but I actually took it off and put some more tile adhesive down just to get the level mainly onto this straight down here a little bit better. So that's been done. I also, I can't remember whether I had trimmed this already on the last bit of footage, but I've trimmed that corner so that you're not going to run into that bit of wall, and connected it up with the rest of the line. Although I haven't actually run a loco up here yet, so that's something to do. But around. The other thing you'll notice in this corner is the plant. We have managed to save it, well, so far anyway. Certainly not happy, and we've pulled quite a bit off it, but it's still here, and it's
a lot more alive than it looked a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Nikki has also been planting. I mean, whether I'd call it a plant, I've no idea.
We found it growing elsewhere, and I thought I'll show it and see what it turns into.
Yes, I'm less sure about that one. Might survive, but I'm not sure it's really the right place for it.
It can
Probably
stay
the
until
garden
we've
bin
got,
is the right place for
it.
it.
Can stay until we've got something better.
Anyway, back to railway stuff. We're up the Striss Hill, straight sleeper bit, all the way up. So again, more tile adhesive down, because I just wasn't quite happy with the first bit I put down. Although I did cause a problem for myself, because I put it down and then I think it was actually before the show, and then I tried to sand it down after the show, and it had really set. So that took a lot of sanding down. So if you are doing this method of putting tile adhesive, sand and cement mix down, do sand it sort of when it's greened, you know, the same day. Don't leave it, because it is a nightmare.
Don't leave
unless
it
you want it
like
fairly
5
thick.
days or whatever it was.
Yeah, because it's surprising how well it sets. Progressing a bit further into this corner, and there's a few things in this corner. The fence being one of them. We are not professionals at doing fencing, but there is a fence, and we've gone with an open sort of style fence because well, it's sort of separating the front garden to the back, so we don't really need it fully enclosed fence, and I think it will just make this area feel a bit bigger. And it also has the advantage of you can actually spy through and see the train coming down the back of the shed.
I don't think the camera shows it as well as
Maybe
your
it doesn't
eyes
show it
do,
as well, but you can see coming down that slope
it.
and going up if you need to. And obviously, opening in here for trains to come through. And you'll see I've sort of laid some track out. So I have fixed some bits down. This point went down, which is the three-way point. And I actually fixed this down, or set the position of this, before I did all these bits here, because I knew I wanted to try and get this point as far that way as possible to make the loops in here as big as possible. But I wanted this to be 38-inch radius, so that's its set track there. I have to have this in a certain position so that this one can come off, because that's where it splits for the two lines at the top, because the one at the back here is the up and this one coming down here is down. So we're going to spring this point so the arrow is going that way. It makes more sense for the front, and it just means then when you're coming back down you can come through here basically and make sure it's clear because you're combining here.
I
So
hate
that's
to
the
tell
reason
you
we've
that's
done
the
that.
wrong way around.
That's the wrong way around?
Nearest you is up, otherwise you can't go up the point at the top.
Yes, you are right. Corrected. That's up, that's down.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Which means the conversation we had earlier about siding actually doesn't matter. You're not going the wrong way down a bit of line. We've both got this wrong earlier, so it's all good.
But you can't get... Anyway. Well, there's so many things to it. It's when the plan changes so many times. Anyway, this is all fixed down. This point is in, which is the one that will eventually come across this corner on the 4-foot radius. Not sure when that'll be because I need to make some sort of bridge construction thing here. I've had a few different ideas, not quite worked out, so that one's still percolating in the old brain there. There's that one, but the point's in, ready for it. So, in terms of this bit now, I just need to basically spend some time and get all this track that I've laid out here, because this is all just laid on, fixed down. Turntable, I've been doing a bit on the actual turntable bit itself inside, getting that prepped and ready. But this won't take too long to sort of get some tracks down, so I'll do it on a nice day at some point or whenever. I keep sort of sneaking out every now and again doing a little bit, so doesn't always get filmed, but I can just sort of slowly progress. And I'm not sure how many of you really want to see me drill holes, put a screw in it. You might. So I'll try and film a bit, but anyway, there you go. That's where we're at in this section. In terms of the rest of the railway, not a whole lot has changed, other than plants have grown, weeds have probably grown as well, because they always do, but all that's sort of as it was, other than growth.
Anybody that spots the chapel is missing, we just took it
Oh, yes.
inside. It's not missing, don't worry.
Yeah. No, it's living inside for a little bit while the weather's changed and it's a bit windier and things. We don't want it to get damaged, so it's gone on its own holiday pilgrimage inside.
It's just safe, that's all.
Yeah. So we will jump through to the front garden. Ooh, my knees are getting old. Front garden. And we are progressing here as well. So last time I think we'd got to under the buddleia here. This section hasn't gone any further because we're doing down the back. So I've got more of the track bed down this fence side. So this bit's just supported off the fence. I possibly might have to put a post in, but I mean it's pretty strong. I think you'll struggle for a loco to do anything to that. I have slightly leaned it in towards the fence so that when you run a load down and over time weight will just come this way, it should go level basically. That's the theory on that one. But this is our 1 in 50 all the way up, and now I have got to this point, literally that point there, because at this point here, oh this works so many times, we are heading round our loop and then back down to join where we are in the bud there. So we talked about these stones, which have slightly moved, only slightly, here being the loop. And we have progressed from single point with a stone to bits of Latin ground. Very advanced technology we're going on at the front here. And stick. And as you will see, the stick has been used as a pivot point. So if the camera wants to come round here a little bit, you'll see where I'm at with these posts. So coming off this point, the point's roughly where it needs to be. It might have moved. And we're coming around here. So if I bring that back a little bit, yeah, I must have moved the point because it's not quite lining up, but that comes off on here and it's going to go, oh, in fact no, it is, it's lined up. I'm looking at the line. So the line I've put on here is actually where the posts...
So we can see the line.
Yeah.
Oh yes, now we can see the line.
It's where the posts need to be. Which should get me then the track roughly in the middle. It'll be slightly on the inside because I'm sort of countering that things tend to overhang on this side more than the inside, or it's more important that... Anyway, that was the thinking. Yeah, we're coming off the end of the stick here and round. And this radius is... Look at my cheating
50
stick.
inches,
50
you
inches, that's right. So it's slightly bigger than 4 foot, just to allow me a little bit of wiggle room on joining points and things like that. That was the thinking on that one. Because we're going to come off that one, and then...
Well, it gets complicated with points, because the point
Yes.
is not the same radius as the loop, so you have to
I want
give
to
yourself...
say 58 inch, but I don't know whether I'm right on that one. I can't quite remember.
I might
It's
put
a
it
bigger
on screen
radius
if,
anyway.
if we can work it out.
Yeah. So we're just compensating a little bit there, and that is the reason why there's 2 sticks
Yes.
in the middle. Because there's another point, as we discussed, going sort of here-ish.
You might have to go down. I can't film.
Here-ish. Which will be a right hand, allowing us to go off that way. And the reason I've done it a right hand is because it will keep in line with this loop, but the loop's not going to be the same radius as the point, so the actual centres of the circles that we're forming here of the radius is why we've got 2 sticks, because we want this little bit here to be straight. But the sticks aren't as long as the point, because the point's got a bit of a radius. We're kind of guessing at that, and that's why we're allowing ourselves a little bit more room here and things like that. And we're not set exactly on here, because obviously once you put the lats on you've got a little bit of wiggle room, but I'd like it to be in the middle of this. That's the that's kind of what we're going for.
I mean, we did make the sort of first bit of the railway, we found 1 or 2 bits too tight.
Yes,
So
yeah, when you do
giving it some more space.
when you do it 4 foot, you have to have your track exactly at 4 foot, and every time you get to a joint, it's very difficult to keep it on a 4 foot. So by making it a little bit bigger, you've got a little bit of wiggle room to make it bigger or smaller, to get back in line, basically. So that's why we've done that. But yeah, so we're coming around here. So I've got another post.
You do have a big hole there. I've spotted the hole.
So the post goes in there. Obviously, not this long.
Yes.
Does need to be a little bit shorter. I'm not digging the holes massively deep on this section because, well, basically there's probably more in the ground than there is stuck up out of it.
Yes.
So I doubt it's going to go very far, especially as it's going to be in a circle, which is obviously then going to be strong because they're all to pull off each other. If it was in a straight, it'd want to fall over. And even more so on these ones, because there's probably going to be posts in the future, not quite sure when, heading round that way to go to the bit that's going up there. So that's going to be a triangle on a circle. I mean, this post is not going to go anywhere, is it? Let's face it. Unless it goes down. But I do tend to get to a sort of solid bit down in here, so don't think that's going to happen either.
You found
What's
any
more
tree roots
likely-
yet?
I just skimmed one on that one. So that post might twist when the tree grows a bit. But that's probably more likely to happen, is rather than it move because the posts aren't insecure, it'll move because the tree does it. Which, there's not much we can do about that.
Yeah,
We're
I like
encircling a
this
tree, so you're gonna
can't-
have movement.
It's a reasonable tree as well.
It's a reasonable tree, but we're sort of just at the outside edge of it.
Yes.
Tree canopy, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. And so that tends to be where you're getting a bit more away from the roots, really, at that, or there should be a bit further down. So I'm hopeful that it won't move it too much. And obviously being wooden things, it will twist it a little bit rather than the wall where it'll just crack it if it does something. So that's better.
None of it's concrete, so we can fix it if needed.
Exactly, exactly. It is, again, possibly temporary. We might redo this in the future, but I don't think I'd wall it. I think it'll always be on some sort of supports because it's not very far up off the ground. So I could wall it because it won't take very much. But because this eventually won't be all slate, it will be sort of garden and planted and things. I'm not sure whether a wall will look right. Certainly not all the way round. So, but anyway, that's all in the future. For now, this system works because it gets us another nice loop here. We can then start putting a bit of planting in and going from there. So I'm basically continuing round with my posts to where the camera is stood right now, and then we've got a straight across.
I'll probably show that actually. It goes around there.
From here to here, and as I mentioned before, this is our datum for the height, which is making my life a little bit hard for over there because I don't really have a height. So I'll be honest, I'm making it up if I'm on it, you know. But this is still coming up, but not as much as that. So my theory is by this point here it should be about level, which means if it drops down the same amount to there, it'll be close enough. And I can just take the screws out and adjust it if I need to. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. At some point I need to move the garden down here, but we'll show all that in the future.
Yes, I don't know how much of that we've actually mentioned.
No, but we'll discuss that later once I've got some posted.
Yep.
So I'll go back to digging the holes.
Bye.
Bye. So welcome back to this corner. It's no, just no. Well, it's been a few weeks. I have aged in. No, it's completely wrong.